98%. That is how much of your DNA scientists once called junk, useless, leftover noise from millions of years of evolution. They mapped the human genome, found the 2% that codes for proteins, and dismissed everything else. They gave it a name, junk DNA, and moved on. But here's the thing about junk: someone always finds a use for it. And what scientists are now finding, hidden inside that 98%, is so extraordinary, so unsettling, that it raises a question they are struggling to answer. What exactly is written in there, and who, or what, wrote it? The term junk DNA was coined in 1972 by a geneticist named Susumu Ono. He looked at the vast stretches of non-coding genome and declared them evolutionary debris, leftover code, biological noise. And for decades, that explanation stuck. It was convenient, it was tidy, and it meant nobody had to look deeper. Just around 2% of your DNA contains your 20,000 genes. The other 98% was labeled the non-coding genome, dismissed as junk. But what if calling it junk was the greatest scientific mistake of the 20th century? What if they simply didn't have the tools to understand what they were looking at? And what if the people who should have been asking that question chose instead to look away? In July 2025, an international team of scientists published a finding that sent shockwaves through the genetics community. What scientists once dismissed as junk DNA may actually be some of the most powerful code in our genome. Ancient viral DNA, buried deep in our genes, plays an active role in how we function today. Ancient viral DNA, inside you, right now. Sequences from viruses that infected your ancestors millions of years ago, not discarded, not inert, but switched on. Active, doing something. These sequences were captured, absorbed, repurposed. Your body took the genetic material of something that tried to destroy it and turned it into something it could not live without. The question is, what exactly are they doing? And how much of what you are was written by something else entirely? Then came the Alzheimer's breakthrough. Scientists at the University of New South Wales discovered something extraordinary hiding inside the junk. The 98% that was labeled useless contains powerful switches that help control brain cells linked to Alzheimer's disease. These switches, strings of DNA called enhancers, determine when genes turn on and how strongly they act. And then, in March 2026, researchers uncovered more than 2.3 million regulatory DNA sequences acting like genetic switches that have endured for over 400 million years. 400 million years. These sequences survived every mass extinction on this planet, every ice age, every catastrophe that wiped out entire species. Whatever they are doing, nature decided they were far too important to ever let go of. In 2026, they brought in artificial intelligence. An AI was trained on genomic data to predict when transcription would be initiated within sequences long considered junk. And what it found was deeply unsettling. When researchers reversed the DNA sequence in mice, the transcription stopped. Completely. Silenced. That means the sequence was not random, not noise, not garbage. It was specifically, deliberately, structured. Something in that code controls when it speaks and when it stays silent. And here is what nobody is saying loudly enough. If the code has structure, if it has intentional regulatory logic, then it was written, not assembled by chance. Written. And if it was written, then somewhere in your genome is a language we are only just learning to read. Here is where it becomes personal. Because this isn't abstract science. This is your body, your genome. The 98% they dismissed may hold the keys to cancer, to Alzheimer's, to aging itself. Non-coding regions are not merely junk, but critical elements involved in gene expression. New evidence shows how mutations within these regions substantially influence gene expression, especially in the context of cancer. Every tumor, every neurodegenerative disease, every aging cell. The answers may have been sitting there all along, in the part of the genome they told us not to bother with. Decades of cancer research, conducted while ignoring 98% of the very code they were trying to understand. The cures we have been searching for may have been buried in the junk the entire time. And now, we arrive at the question that makes geneticists uncomfortable. If 98% of your genome is not junk, if it contains millions of ancient switches, viral sequences that were kept and repurposed, regulatory code that has survived 400 million years, then what is it? Some researchers are beginning to whisper a word that mainstream science resists. Design. Not random, not noise, not evolutionary debris, but structured, layered, intentional code, of a complexity that makes our most advanced software look primitive. Think about that for a moment. The most sophisticated AI systems ever built by human hands cannot come close to the elegance of what is running silently inside every single cell of your body. We didn't find junk in the genome, we found a library, and we have barely opened the door. The ENCODE project, the largest coordinated research effort in genomics history, is still running, still cataloging, still finding function in places they once declared empty. Every month, new papers, new switches, new roles for sequences written off decades ago. Almost daily, new peer-reviewed articles are appearing in the scientific literature, pointing out the functions of previously believed to be junk DNA. They called it junk because they didn't understand it. And the more they look, the more they realize they may never have been further from the truth. The genome is not 98% waste, it is 98% undiscovered. And somewhere inside that code, written in a language older than any civilization, may be answers to questions we haven't even thought to ask yet. If this changed the way you think about what's written inside you, stay close, because the science of who we really are is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here, breaking it down, every step of the way. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what they're only just beginning to find.